Fine. Okay. So today we will start with the demo sessions. Okay. So this week completely we will dedicate it for the demo sessions. Okay. So in this demo session, but this demo sessions is also very important. It is a part of learning. Okay. It is part of the API testing learning. Okay. Where I'm going to teach all the prerequisite which is required to start with the API testing. Okay. So about the web URL, all the details about the HTTP methods and JSON language, all these things we'll be learning in this demo sessions. Okay. Okay. So sorry guys, I had little cold. Okay. So just let me know if my voice is if it is very low, or if you're not able to listen my voice. Okay, just let me know. Okay. Okay. So now, as a part of our API testing, okay, so we are learning about the web URL. Okay, so like what is web URL, how it is defined, and what are the things we need to take care. All these things we have to be very clear, because the URL is the what we are working with. Okay, so API testing is nothing but so it will be provided like this only for us. Okay, whatever the URL you are seeing here, so you'll be getting the URL from the developers like this only. Okay, so they will send you the URL and they will give you, if there is if there is any authentication, if you need to perform before working with that API, they will give you all the details in the document. Yes, this is the URL and this is the parameter, this is the endpoint. You have to hit this endpoint, then you will get the response like this. Okay, so all these things will be defined in the document. By looking into it, we need to add it, being a test engineer. Okay, so what we will do means we are starting from the scratch. This course defined like this only. Okay, because the people who doesn't know any knowledge, and the people who is jumping from non-IT to IT, and the people having some idea, for all of one I had to take in a single boat only. Okay, so that's why I'm starting from very basic. This is the web URL. These concepts are all very basic concept, but which you have to be very carefully. We have to understand each and every parameter. Okay. Okay. So web URL. So web URL means uniform resource location. Okay. So uniquely identify the specific web resources inside the web application. Okay. So remember what it is telling. Uniquely identify the specific web resource inside the web application. Okay. Okay, guys. What is resource? What is web resource? What you guys know? Like what is web resource inside the web application? Mm-hmm.
Inside the web page contain link, then
Yeah.
tab, all the resources.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Thank you. Okay. See, for example, the web resource in the nothing but. So what they're telling is uniquely identify the specific web resource inside the web application. Okay, which means that just I'm taking just considers it is a web application. Okay, so this is a web application. So inside this web application, we have our different resources. Okay, so what is that resources? Okay, this is one resource. Okay, this is maybe a home resource. Okay, and this is one resource. This is maybe a contact resource. Okay, and this is one resource. This is maybe a uh, information resource. Okay, just different resource. Okay, maybe this is a okay home resource, and this is maybe a contact resource. Okay, and this is maybe a about resource. Okay, and this is maybe a search resource. Here one search resource. So basically, different future, different uh, elements in the web application is nothing but a web resource. Okay, this is a search resource. Okay, so uniquely identify the specific web resource inside the web application. This entire thing is a web application. Okay, so in this web application we are having different resources. Okay, so how it will identify, just observe here this example. So it is going to the google.com and it is identifying in the google.com we have a different resource, right? So set a suppose someone is, please mute yourself. When it's required, you can unmute and ask the question. Manish, right? So I will mute you. Okay, when it's required, you just unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, yeah. So these are the different resources. Okay, so in these resources, the URL is helping us to identify it uniquely. How it is helping? See, take this. Okay, it is reaching till the google.com. In the google we have a different resource. Okay, so even though we have a different resource in the google.com, okay, so it is, it is going for the search element, means search future, search resource it is going. Okay, maybe consider it as a google.com only. This is google.com application, and in this google.com application it is identifying search resource right now. Maybe later it will identify home also, contact also, and about also. So to reach particular, particular person, for example, take it as a home. Okay, this is one person, this is one person, and this is one person, and this is one person. Okay, so they want to talk with this person. So what they will do, like this URL they will define. Okay, so this is possible with the URL only to identify the specific person. Okay, so when they ask about URL, uniquely identify the specific web resources inside the web application. Without the URL, to identifying the particular resource and all is not possible. Okay, so that's why URL defining the URL is very important. Okay, properly we have to define while defining that. Okay, and next, it's very general information. Every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. Okay, obviously, every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. We have a lots of application, like we have a WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp we have Facebook, we have Twitter. Okay, okay. So what they're telling is every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. See, this application is have one unique address. This application is have one unique address. This application is have one unique address. For example, like a whatsapp.com, https whatsapp.com is the WhatsApp address. Okay, maybe Facebook, https facebook.com. Okay, and this one, last one, https twitter.com. Okay, so these are all the unique address for the different application. Okay, so what if for each and every application, if it is like a https xxxyyyy.com, if it is like this for each and every application, so it's something like the address is same for each and every application. There is big ambiguity problem, right? How it will define the different addresses, correct? Okay, it's not possible, correct? So that's why, so they are telling that every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. In the form of URL, this every application is have their own unique address. Okay, so this is what they're specifying. Okay, so URL is a one and only way to access any web application via browser. Yes, that is true. Okay, whatever the application you want to access, obviously you have to make use of a URL. Without the URL, how you will call that particular application? See, if you go simply open the Google and open open WhatsApp, if you tell like that, it will open. No, right? You have to enter the WhatsApp URL, correct? So that is what they're telling. And this is general example. Maximum number of character in the URL is 200. Okay, remember this. In interview, they may ask you, okay? URL in the sense, this is what, okay? See, this is one URL. Whatever the thing I'm launching here, this is one URL, okay? So this character, what they're entering here, it should be a maximum 200 only, okay? If it is a 201 also, it will not work. The maximum character allowed is lost is 200 only. Okay, this is what they're specifying. Okay, so next. So the syntax for the web URL. Okay, what is the syntax for the web URL is it should contain protocol. It starts with a protocol. Okay, this protocol is nothing but address. Okay, so it should contain the protocol and following the protocol domain name. Okay, and after that, if it's required, port number and resource path, query string, and fragment ID. Okay, so these are all the things. It's very important. Domain name, port number, resource path, query string, fragment ID. Okay, so this is what this is the syntax of the web URL. Okay, so here also that is what they are specified. Here they're giving a protocol and then domain name and port number and resource. Okay, so here is also like protocol, domain name, and resource. This is somewhat query string. These are all the things I will be telling you later. Okay, so this is we call it as a query string, something extra information about the resource. Okay, and here, so instead of domain name they are specifying IP address. This I will tell you guys, okay, later. And here resource, and this is the query string. Okay, so this is the sample example for the web URL. And observe here, it should follow the syntax of this general syntax. Whatever the URL we are defining here, so it should follow the syntax of this. Okay, this syntax, following this syntax is must. It will not work if you domain name if you are mentioning at the end, and if you are mentioning the resource in the first, okay, it will not work. After the protocol, it must be a domain name only. After the domain name, then if you are want to define means it's protocol. What is this? Sorry. If you want to define the port number means you have to define it here only. Then you have to define it resource. Okay, if you make it, here and there means it will not work. Means instead of domain name specifying resource path, and after this domain name will specifying in the place of resource path. If you do that means it will not work. Okay, so this is the syntax. It should follow like this only, one by one, one by one. Okay, so in the syntax there are many things which is not a mandatory things. Okay, the one is the port number is not a mandatory. That is something like a extra information. Okay, so whether you can specify or you not specify, it will work. The URL will work. Okay, this is the optional thing. Okay, yes, see, observe here. Okay, HTTP localhost I am specified port number and then resource. Okay, you can specify or else you can also remove it. It will work. Okay, so this is a optional port number. Okay, and one more thing, fragment ID is also optional. Okay, but the domain name, this query string is also like optional. If we want to provide extra information, then we have to give. Okay, so domain name and all is a mandatory. Protocol, domain name, resource path is a mandatory parameters in the URL. Okay, in interview they may ask you what are the mandatory parameter. Okay, so you can tell that yes, protocol we have to specify because we need to give a idea that which protocol we are going to use. We have to give idea to the services. Okay, then domain name is must and resource path is must. Okay, you have to specify that. And they may ask you what is the optional parameter, whether we can enter that, whether we are not entering that, the function will work. So which is that parameter? If they ask you, yes, port number is a optional parameter and fragment ID is also optional parameters. So these are the some parameters which we consider as a optional. Okay, so this is what your response. Okay, Okay, clear? Any doubt till now? Okay, okay. So now what we will do, okay, to understand how the URL is working, how to understand each and everything, okay. I mean to say how the parameters we can understand. Okay, to understand that, we will first start with a general example. Okay, so let's try to understand the web URL with a general example. Okay, listen carefully. You have to answer now. Okay, so okay, consider this as a street. Okay, so consider this as a street. Inside the street, you have a different apartment like this. Okay, you have a different apartment. So inside the apartment, you have a so apartment have a apartment name as well as apartment ID. Okay, so apartment have a apartment name as well as ID. This is the apartment name. Hmm. This is the apartment name and this is the apartment ID. Okay, so inside the apartment also we have a different flats. See, this is a flat one. This is a flat two. Okay, and in this apartment too also we have a flat 1, flat 2, flat 3. Here we have a flat 1, flat 2, flat 3, flat 4. Okay, so like this we have a different flats. Okay, so now what I have to do, I want to write a single line address for this. Okay, so what I have to do, in we have to go for the apartment 1 and we have to go for the flat number 2 and we have to identify the person who is present in the flat number 2. Okay, so how my control has to go, first my control has to reach to the street, then after reaching the street it has to go for the apartment 1, and then after the control is going to the apartment 1, then the control has to go for the flat number 2, then the control is going to the flat number 2, it has to identify the P2 person. This person it has to identify. Okay, how to write the single line address for that? See here, observe here, address. You can write it as a street also. Okay, first it is reaching here. Okay, this is reaching here like a address. Then it is specifying the apartment 1. Okay, so you can specify apartment 1 or else you can also specify apartment ID 1 to 1. Okay, so here I'm specified as apartment 1. Then I'm reaching for the flat 2. Okay, this is the flat 2 is I'm specified here. Then after reaching to the flat 2, I'm identifying the P2 person. Okay, so this is how I'm writing the single line address. Okay, so now tell me, okay, everyone has to interact now. Okay, so either through the chat or you can mute yourself. Okay, no, you can send it in a chat only because somebody answers means others will get quiet, right? So you can answer to the in the chat and send it to like only organizer. Okay, so now I want to identify the person who is present in the flat 3 of the apartment 2. Write a single line address for that. I want to identify the person who is present in the flat 3 of the apartment 2. Write the single line address and send it to me. Quick, 2 minutes of time, okay? Vijay, you are from previous batch, right? Hmm. Send it, guys, quick. Okay, Amita sent. Only Amit is responding. Others sleeping? Sleepy? Okay, Vijay is responded. Okay. Others, shall I consider your silence as that you guys are sleeping? Okay. Okay, guys. Fine. Okay. So thank you, Vijay and Hamid. Okay. Yes, whatever the thing you are written is correct. Okay. Let me copy. Okay, so this is a single line address. This is the single line address. Okay. So there is a four apartment. In that apartment, to identify the specific apartment, either I use a apartment name, else I may use the ID. Okay. So for example, here you can also use instead of apartment two, you can also use a ID means 1222. I mean to say street 1222 flat 3 slash P2. Okay, so this is also you can use. So this is a general example, guys. Okay, so very it means like a general example to understand the web URL. Okay, so okay, so what we have to learn next is okay. Remember this general example how we are writing here. Okay, tomorrow I will I will give you some sample example. So you have to write the URL for that. Okay, not a general one that is with respect to application. So you have to follow these steps and you have to write a URL for that. Okay, so this is the thing. So understood? Any doubt within this? What is web URL? Okay, how to access any of the application and what are the mandatory things and how to write the single line address for the general example. All these things understood or any doubt? Mm-hmm. Quick. Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? No. Okay. Amit, Manish, Ronit. Have any doubt? Okay. Okay. So tomorrow we'll learn, okay, whenever we are sending some URL in the browser, what is happening in the browser level? Okay. So what happens when we type the URL in the browser? Okay, that one thing. Then how to work with the, you know, now we learned about the general example, but actually with the application how the URL will work and how it is defined inside and what happens when we are typing in the browser. For example, this is the URL. Okay, so this is the URL. So whenever we are typing this URL in the browser, what happens internally? How the request will create to and from request. Okay, so after that, how it works in the network, how the URL will works in the network, and what are the different protocol we have. how it is useful. So all those things we will be learning in the further session. Okay. So once after completing this, we will jump into JSON learning. What is JSON? Why we are going for the JSON? What are the advantages of JSON? And how to create a JSON object? How to create a JSON array? How to access those objects? All those things we'll be learning. Okay. So in later sessions we'll be learning all those things. Okay. So within this, so guys, one more thing. So within this demo class, please do enroll if you are interested. Okay, because we will start the session, actual session, as soon as possible. Okay. So I'm keeping the buffer time of this 4 days. Once after the 4 days, we have to plan for the actual classes instead of this demo classes. Okay. So before that, plan accordingly to enroll. Okay. Okay, guys. Then tomorrow we'll connect again. Okay. Bye. Take care. Have a great day. Thanks for joining. Bye. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Harshil, miss, what is the reason of that class is extended by 6 a.m.?
Sorry.
Miss, what is the reason of that class are extended by miss change the time
Which class, Vijay?
of 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yeah, I'm yeah.
Hey, we
No,
don't
no,
have a
AM,
class.
AM, 6 a.m.
6 a.m. class is completed already. You were not, I think you
Okay.
didn't attended the sessions, right? From long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what. That is completed. That's completed. This is a new batch, Vijay. Have you gone through the videos which they have uploaded in the Google Drive?
yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then you talk offline, okay?
Yeah,
So you are there in that group, right? Fee. Yeah, Manish. Manish, you are not attended yesterday's workshop. Okay, the fee will be 4,000. Yes, I'm unmuted yourself.
No, ma'am. Today is my first session, ma'am.
Sorry? Yes, Manish.
Yeah, today is my first session, ma'am.
Okay, okay. No, yesterday just we connected the workshop. So I thought you attended. Okay. Yeah, the fee will be 4,000. And the class timing is this 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And the duration will be 30 to 35 days.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Then we'll, catch up tomorrow. Okay. Bye. Have a great day. Mm, okay. So yesterday we were talking about web URL, correct? Okay. So now today we complete, whenever you're writing something into a browser, so what happens? Okay. Means whenever you're typing URL into the browser, so what happens internally that we have to go in to learn. Okay. So now, so whenever you're typing the URL, what happens internally? Okay. So internally, it is going to create a one request. Okay. So say suppose this is a browser. This is a browser, and here the tab is there. Okay. So here you would type the HTTP something. Okay. HTTP colon double slash something you would type here. Okay. So when you click on enter, after writing this, when you click on enter, So internally in the browser, it is going to create a request. Okay, the request contains to and from information. Okay, so into this is all the parameter it contains. Basically, what are all the parameters we are sending through the URL will be going to the to only. Okay, so what is the path? What is the street? With respect to general example, it is okay. What is the apartment name or apartment ID? What is the flat number? What is the resource name? So all this information will go through the to only. And in the from, after we are sending this information to the to, in response to that, they will be giving us name and contact number of the person who is sitting inside this flat. Okay, so there we were identifying, right? After entering to the street, after entering to the apartment, after entering to the flat number, inside the flat number, any particular person. Okay, so here also in the same way that in the to, all the information about the URL is present, and in the from, like after reaching there, okay, after reaching this flat number, so they will get to know who is that person and name, contact number, and ID, etc., etc., etc. They will get in as a part of the response. Okay, okay. So now this is done with a general example. Okay, so now, okay, observe here the slide. What is happening? Okay, so there we were mentioning like a street, apartment, flat, and person. Okay, so we will try to convert the general example to real application level. Okay, so instead of street, use it as a network. Instead of apartment, consider it as a system or computer or server. Instead of flat, consider it as a web application. Instead of person, consider it as a resource. Okay, so say suppose here we have a this functionality. Okay, so maybe here one more is there. So this is a apartment. Okay, so this is the first one is the okay server. This is the web application. Okay, so inside that we will be having the resources, login resource, home resource, inbox resource. Okay, so we are having the different resources here. Okay, so this is a home resource. Okay, this is the login resource. This is the inbox resource. So in the general example, we were considering it as a street. Okay, and this has a apartment name and apartment ID. So this has a flat number, flat, first flat or second flat or third flat, like that we were defining. Okay, so that is what we are converting into technical way. Okay, so this is the server, this is the web application, this is the resource. Inside the resource, if we need any particular information, means we can make use of a query string. Okay, so this is what you have to understand. And then, okay, I was telling that when you enter the URL, when you type in the browser, what happens internally? Make use of a chat. Yes, what happens internally whenever we are typing a URL in the browser? Make use of a chat feature, huh? Okay. According to Amit, it will create a request. What about others? See, GoToMeeting has implemented a chat feature because of this only. If you guys are not able to unmute yourself and talk means, you can make use of a great feature that is chat feature to tell your answers. What about others? Quick guys. See, I'm not feeling well, but still I'm as I'm talking this much. You guys are not responding me. What happens whenever you type the URL in the browser? Okay. So whenever, see, I will tell you once again. Remember, okay. So whenever you type some URL in the browser, internally it is going to create a request. That request contains the to and from information. Okay. So that is in general language. Okay. But technically, if you are speaking, that request must contain, instead of to, consider it as a header. Instead of from, consider it as a body. Okay. So it must contain header and body. In the header, all the information about the request will be present. In the body, after sending the request, what is the response we are getting now? That will be stored in the body. That will be given, provided in the body. Okay. Clear at least now? Clear? Clear? Okay. So now, what we have to learn? So okay, you are this done. Okay. So observe here what is happening. This is also example I take, understand you guys. This is the browser. Okay. So this is the browser. Guys, give some attention. Okay. I will ask you a question after this explanation. Okay. So this is the browser. Okay. So you are entering the URL on this browser. Okay. http facebook.com/login. So whenever you are giving a enter after writing this URL, it is internally going and it is internally creating a request. Okay. So what is that request contains? So that request contains header and body. Okay. So that request contains this header and body. In the header, what is going as a part of header? URL and domain name. Okay. So it is going here and it is performing the login action. And in response to that, it is returning some response here. Okay. That is in the form of JSON. Okay. So this is how it happens. So whenever you're typing the URL, it is going to create a request, and based upon the input you have provided, it will go to the application, it will go to the server, and it will go to the particular application, and it will, return the response back. Okay. So this is what the flow. Okay. Understood, right? So what happens here? Observe here what is happening. So in the network, this is the network. Okay. So in the network, you have a plenty of application. Okay. So in the network, you have a plenty of application. There's no count at all. You have a Twitter, you have a Facebook, you have a WhatsApp, you have a Instagram, etc., etc., etc. There's no count at all. Okay. So in the network, we have hosted each and every application. Okay. So how my network, how my server will get to know I want only the Facebook only, because it contains plenty of network. There's no count at all. But whenever we are sending this request, how it is going exactly to the Facebook and returning the response back? Mm-hmm.
through API web service.
Sorry?
Through API web service.
Okay. Now my question is, see, you are typing some URL here in the browser. So whenever you're typing, it is, whenever this is what happens, guys, whenever we are working here. So see, here, here this is there, okay? So here I'm typing URL and I'm clicking on enter. So internally in the browser, it is going to create a request. That request contains the two parameters. One is header, one is body. In the header, what are all the parameter has to go to work with that API will go. And in the body, as a response to that request, we will receive a details of the body. Okay. So now my question is, mm, my question is, okay, in the network and in the server, the plenty of application hosted. Okay, there's no count at all. See GitHub and Google.com, Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp. There's no count at all. Plenty of application is there. How my server will get to know that I have to work with the Facebook only? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just a single word. Simple. How my server, how my server get to know it has to, you know, go for that particular application. Chaitanya, you are close to the answer. Sorry, not Chaitanya. Chamika, right? Chamika, you are close to answer. No. Okay. Okay, fine. See, guys. Yesterday, I was telling you, right? In the web URL, what are all the things are mandatory? In the URL of the web application, what are all the things are very mandatory? Hmm. Which is mandatory in the URL? Which is mandatory parameter in the URL? Very good. Okay. Domain name. Yes, protocol is also there. Domain name. Okay. So what is your answer now? So when, okay. So in the server, there are plenty of application. How it will get to know? It has to retrieve from this particular application only. By using what? Hmm. By using? Yes. Hmm. Okay. See. Okay, absolutely. So this is a network, guys. Okay. So here we have a Facebook, here we have a Google, here we have a Gmail, here we have a Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp. Like that, there are plenty of application has been hosted in the server. Okay. So if I identify the server name, inside the server we have a application. Plenty of application. That is not a correct server name. Okay. So we have to specify the particular domain name. So even though millions of billions of application is there, in the URL we are specifying it is the Facebook. Okay. So this is a uniquely identified number. Okay, domain name. So whenever we are specifying it is a Facebook, even though plenty of application is present here, it will only go to the Facebook only and will return the response body. Okay, but it will only go to the Facebook because we have specified domain name. Domain name or the domain ID, the both are these also fine, but this is how it happens. It is go, it is identify, and it will come back. Okay, so understood now. Okay. Okay, so now try to understand the protocol. Okay, so this is the first parameter in the URL. Okay, agree that. Okay, protocol. Basically, protocol is a common language or instruction. Okay, so now why we need a protocol? Okay, so protocol, what it is doing, guys? So understand it like a story. Okay, so I suggest you to understand each and everything like a story. So having that story in mind, create your own technical words to explain in front of the interviewer. Okay, this is what the plan. Okay, so what is this protocol is doing is it is okay providing a address to writers. Okay, that's fine. But okay, what it is doing? Okay, so it is using the some syntax. Okay, so means the protocol is telling that okay, if you are using my protocol, if you are using what are the protocol available from me, you have to follow this particular syntax only. Then only I will allow you to work with a web application. Otherwise, I will not allow. So we will write now in the web URL. So this one. So for example, where is my cursor? Okay. So like this, HTTPS. Okay. So we will write like this. Login. Okay. So we are trying to hit the URL by writing like this now. HTTPS. Now you have to tell me which one will work or both will work. Which one will work? And both will valid. I have to tell quickly. Okay. I have to quickly make use of a chat feature and answer me for this. Which one will work? The first one or second one or both? According to Amit, second. What about others? Hmm? Shamika, Prashant, Rohit, Ronit, Sudhakar, Vinita.
Ma'am, actually your voice is too breaking, ma'am.
Is it? Now,
No, ma'am,
for the
same.
others also same? For the others also same?
Yeah, ma'am. Abhi right now is okay, fine.
Okay. Okay. Now fine?
Yeah, fine, ma'am.
Okay. So what I'm telling is, okay, the protocol is the first parameter in the URL. Okay, that is fine. But what I'm telling is, so whenever we are typing a URL in the browser, can we follow this format, or is it okay to follow this format? What do you feel like? This is also fine, this is also fine, or only particular one is fine?
Mm, ma'am, particular one is fine.
Which one that? First one or second one?
First one. Yeah, first one.
This one?
Yes,
First
ma'am.
one. Okay, okay. So this is the second one. Okay, okay. Now I will tell you. So this protocol is giving that syntax. Hmm. Okay. Observe the syntax here. What is this protocol is giving the syntax? After the protocol, it should be domain name. If you're using the port number, okay, next port number. If you're using the resource path, next after the port resource path. If you're using the query string, okay, you can use after the resource path. Okay. So then observe this one. So which one is correct? Okay. Yeah. Second one. Okay. So why? It is clearly telling that, okay, protocol is nothing but, guys, set of rules that it is providing, set of rules and instruction to create a URL. Okay, so it is telling that if you're using the my protocol like HTTP or HTTPS or FTP, SMTP, etc., etc., okay, if you're using my protocol, you have to follow the syntax which is provided by me. So what is that syntax it is telling? Immediately after the protocol, we have to use the domain name, and the port number is a optional. Okay, you can use, either you can use or you cannot use. Okay, so it is optional, so I am leaving here. Then immediately after the port number, it must be a resource path. Okay, so here what is doing in the first example, first only we are specifying the resource path immediately after the protocol, then facebook.com we are writing. So the protocol will immediately throw you an error. What you're doing, like, I am clearly telling that you have to follow this syntax. Again you're trying to do something extra. I will not allow you to get any of the information from this website. Okay, so that's why I will not give you any of the information from this domain. So this is not acceptable, because I have given a syntax clearly saying immediately after the protocol it must be a domain name, then the port number, then the resource path, then the query string and the parameter, fragment ID. Okay. So, but it is, it is using the wrong format. So that's why it will throw you an error for this, and it will not allow you to perform any of the action with the first URL, and it will work with fine with the second URL. Okay, so this is the, so protocol is nothing but a set of rules and instruction. Okay, remember what is protocol if they ask you? It is a set of rules and instruction how the design of the URL should happen. Okay, so it is provided some syntax. We are following the same syntax to generate the URL. Okay, clear? Okay, okay. So now just an example, guys. Okay, just an example I'm giving you how the protocol will work. See, this is one person who knows only He's from France. He knows only the French language. This is one person. He is sitting inside the shop and he is from China and he knows only Chinese. Okay, this person has visited China now. So this person has seen one application. So sorry, one mobile in this shop. Okay, he wants to buy that mobile. So what is happening? He's going to the shop. Okay, so he's going to the shop and he is asking something at the shop owner in the French language because he knows only French. Okay, so then the person who is sitting in the shop knows only Chinese. So whatever the language is, accepting from the French guy means okay, it is in French, so he's not able to understand that because he's talking in French. So this person knows only Chinese. Okay, so now whatever the thing he is asking, he is not able to understand. Whatever the thing he is responding, he is not able to understand. Okay, so this is a big question now. Okay, so what they did, so they have come to the conclusion that okay, we'll see. I'm using the French and you are not able to understand. You are using the Chinese, I'm not able to understand. Okay, for safer side to both of our convenient, we will make use of the English language. Okay, so we'll communicate with the English language so that both can understand this. Okay, so that is why we are using a English language here to understand and exchange the information. So here also in the server level, we'll make use of a protocol to communicate each other. So why we have to make use of a protocol? Because to communicate for the smooth communication. Okay, so this protocol, so protocol for the request also they choose the same format, and while sending the response also it use the same protocol format. Okay, so that is why it is using as a common language. Okay, so for this reason we will be making use of a protocol. Okay, understood about the protocol? Why we have to use the protocol? So basically the protocol is setting some rules and instruction. Okay, set of rules and instruction. So while sending the information also it follows the rules, while providing response back also it follows the rules. Okay, it's something like whenever in school we are doing some action, if the set of rules means we follow it properly, right? If there is no rules means randomly we will do action. That will not work out finally. Okay, so it is set of rules and instruction that we have to follow. So however, it is defining the URL should be, so like that only we have to define. Otherwise it will not work. Okay. Understanding or any doubt? Mm-hmm. Just just reply in the chat. Understanding or any doubt? Reply guys. At least yes or no in the chat. If you're not replying means I will think that you guys are sleeping. Okay. Okay. See, this is what. Okay. 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 So this is all about till the protocol and how it works inside the browser. Okay, in interview if they ask you about the web URL, you have to explain all these things. Okay, so how the web URL, what is URL, how it is defined. If they ask you, you have to give a clear idea. So whenever we are typing any of the URL, internally it is going to create a request which is contain header and body format. In the header, what are the requests we have to perform the action, that all the details will be given there. And in the body, in after sending the request, we get the response. That response we will be given in the body. Okay, so this is and after that, protocol means it is a set of rules and instruction. Okay, we have to define the URL how it has defined in the protocol. Okay, means we have to follow the syntax like first protocol, whichever the protocol we are using, then the domain name, then the port number, then the resource path, then the fragment ID. Okay, so this is the path we have to follow, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so protocol is nothing but rule, set of rules and instruction it is providing to work with the web URL. Okay, okay, done. So I will tell you like how the set of rules. So now in your question it should be there. Okay, set of rules and instruction means what is that set of rules and instruction, how it is going, how you're sending, how you're getting back. So these things we have to understand it. Okay, so that we will cover tomorrow's class. Okay, fine. Okay guys, so okay, so this is the second day of the demo. Okay, I will be continuing the demo only till the Friday. Okay, so please plan accordingly of your enrollment. Okay, so because from next Monday we will be starting the actual class. Okay, the link will be changed by next coming Monday. Okay, so before that, if you have any queries means connect with the management and ask with them. If you want to ask anything at me other than the class server, you just call them and inform them, they will connect with me and plan for the enrollment if you are interested. Okay, okay guys, sure, thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Have a great day. Bye bye. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about protocol, correct? So what is protocol? Why we have to use the protocol? Mm-hmm. Yeah, where the protocol is present in the URL. Okay. Mm. Okay. So protocol. So we have our different protocol. We don't have only a HTTP and HTTPS. Okay. So maybe you might have heard this HTTP and HTTPS often. Correct. So protocol is a common language where two applications can exchange the information each other. Okay. So it's a common language means each and every application can understand this language. Okay. So we have a different types of protocol. Okay, as you know different types of protocol means HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol, and FTP protocol and SMTP protocol. Have you heard FTP and SMTP protocol? Obviously you have heard HTTP and HTTPS, I'm sure about it, but have you heard FTP and SMTP?
Yeah, it's a file transfer protocol and simple message transfer protocol.
Yeah, where you are using file transfer protocol, what is the scenario? in real time where you're using.
Never use it, but I just heard about it.
Okay, okay, okay. So you guys know that HTTP and HTTPS is the browser level protocol. If you are, working with a browser, obviously you have to make use of this HTTP and HTTPS. Have you used any other protocols other than the HTTP and HTTPS in the browser? No, right? Whatever the application you are accessing through these protocol only you are accessing, correct? Am I correct? In the browser, hmm? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then, okay. So now questions that when you have to use the HTTP and when you have to go for the HTTPS. When we have to go for the any idea? Any idea? When you have to go for the HTTP and then you have to go for the HTTPS.
When I'm not sure about it.
Mm-hmm.
When the application is much secure, then use the HTTPS. Yes.
When
Without
the
authentication.
application is not secure, correct?
Yes, without authentication we cannot use as a HTTPS protocol, but HTTP we can use without authentication.
Okay, okay. Others, what is your input? Just just tell me what is there in your mind. If it is wrong, is also fine. No issues. Hmm. So when we'll go for that? Mm-hmm. Who's that? Who's that? Okay. Okay. So we know that we have a two protocol for the browser. But now question that when we have to go for the HTTPS and HTTP protocol. Okay. So when we are working with when we are sending the data via server via network, okay, for example, you are performing login action, okay, so whenever you're performing the login action, what you are doing, you will be sending your username and password. So whatever the username and password you are sending for the application, it has to go in secure manner, okay. If it is going through the network tab, means if whatever the username and password whatever we are entering, if it is visible for every user, means it is not correct, right? Means everyone can see that username and password and everyone can access that username and password, okay. So whenever we are sending some secure information, by the time we have to make use of a HTTPS protocol, okay. So whenever we are sending some secure data, okay, that has to go very securely. They should not be visible for any other user. Only the user who is able to access those application can only able to see that. Okay. So if we want to send the information securely, means we have to go for the HTTPS. Okay. So it will send our data with secure manner. Okay, so it will not show our data in the browser and all. Okay, so if we are just performing the retrieval action, means if something we are retrieving from the application, if some data we are receiving from the application, so by the time it's not required to maintain the security. Okay, so just we are telling that please retrieve the data, and it will retrieve the data. Okay, there's no need to send any secure information, but it's okay, you can use, there isn't two option in that case, that you can use http or https, no issues in that. Whatever the protocol you will be using, there is no issues in that. Okay, but if you are working with some if you're sending the data, that too if you're sending the secure data from your end, from the user end, well, so by the time must and should we have to send that data with a secure way. Okay, so by the time we will be go for the https only. Okay, so this is the main two difference, because whatever the data we are sending, it should not be visible in the browser. Okay, so it should go with secure, no one can able to see that. So like that we have to send the data to the server. Okay, so by the time we have to make use of a http hypertext protocol. Okay, with secure manner we have to send it. Okay, so next one, then ftp and smtp. So when to use ftp and when to use smtp. Okay, so ftp means file transfer protocol. Okay, so when we have to go for the file transfer protocol, so take a scenario. Okay, so what is that scenario? Okay, I'm taking this class and I have this all the documents now. Okay, so all this protocol, domain name, and this port number, all this document I have. Okay, so you are telling that please share the document with me. Okay, so what I will do? Okay, I will share the document via Google Drive. Okay, I have an account in the Google Drive, and I'm telling that okay, I will send it through a Google. I will I will save in the Google Drive and I will share with you all, like that I will tell. Okay, so what I will do, before sending the sharing the link to of the Google Drive to you guys, I have to save that here, and then I have to share that here. First I have to store all the documents, and then I have to share the document. Okay, so that is the process. If it is not stored, means what should I send there, correct? So while storing and while saving, what is the protocol I'm using? No, that is nothing but FTP protocol. Okay, so these are all the things we will we'll be performing in real time, but we will be not aware of that. Okay, so while storing and sharing, whatever the protocol we are using is nothing but FTP protocol. Okay, so this is the way we are using the file transfer protocol. Okay, basically use it to transfer the file, okay, from one application to another application. So here I'm for storing it here, for storing while storing it also I'm using this FTP protocol, and while sharing it also I'm using the FTP protocol. Okay, so then SMTP protocol. This is the most commonly used protocol if you are working. Okay, if you are working means, if you are using a Outlook means, go there and check your settings. Okay, so they specified that the protocol is SMTP. Okay, so nothing but this is a simple mail transfer protocol. Okay, so this is usually used within the organization or within the company, whatever the company is there, just for the internal mail communication. Okay, so whenever we are communicating internally, so by the time we make use of a SMTP protocol only. Okay, so for example, take a scenario, your lead is there and you guys are there, all the test engineers are there here, and your manager is there. Okay, so your lead is sending some mail to you guys. Okay, for all the test engineers, the lead is sending the mail. Okay, so by the time what he will do, okay, user 1 and user 2 is there. Okay, so you will make use of a FMTP protocol, and whatever the mail is sending, he is able to send for two of the user also at a time. So for that to happen within the organization, to communicate each other, to communicate with others, maybe it's one or maybe it's many. Okay, so but we will be making use of a simple transfer protocol. This is just a idea about what are the protocols we have and how it will work. Okay, but you know, you have to take it about this browser level protocol because we are dealing with this now. Okay, so http and https is the browser level protocol. And if someone asks you in the interview what is protocol and which protocol you worked on, and do you have any idea that what are the other protocols you have? So for all that you have to explain like this. Okay, so just elaborate about the http and https, then just give a idea about, yes, I know other protocols other than the http and https. So that is file transfer protocol, smtp protocol, and file transfer protocol is used to store and share the file. So suppose take an example. So okay, by taking a general example, just explain this. Okay, then smtp protocol is for the internal mail communication. Usually in every organization, so they will be communicating with the smtp protocol only, because for the internal mail communication. So like that you have to give an explanation. Okay, so this is basically why I've taken this. Means in some of the interview they asked, okay, okay, what are the protocols you have worked on? So I worked on HTTP and HTTPS. So what are the other protocols you know? And give some idea about the protocols. So like that they are said, okay. So that's why I prepared this document, simple document. Okay. So once after this, the protocol is done now. So now next, domain name. Okay. So what is domain name? What is domain name? What happens if domain name is not there? What happens if domain name is not there? Hmm. What happens if domain name is not there? Tell me. If it is wrong, also no issues at all. Okay.
If hi, if the domain is not
Hmm.
there, then the client cannot, server cannot identify the client.
Identify the.
Mm, request of the client, whatever the
Yeah.
request
So,
sent by the client
yes.
server.
If domain is not there, the server is not able to understand the which application it has to access. Correct. Correct. For example, okay, your Ramesh is there, and okay, Sanjeev is there, Shivaji is there, Sudhakar is there. Okay, so if I have not specified exactly the names means, if I'm telling something, anything about particular person means, how you will understand? It's not possible you to understand, right? So in the same way, so domain name is very important. Okay, so it is okay. So domain name is the see the name of the computer or IP address of the computer. Okay, so domain is nothing but taken a Facebook. Okay, facebook.com is the domain name. Taken a Twitter, http colon double slash twitter.com, that is the domain name. Okay, so basically name of the application. So name of the application is nothing but the domain. Okay. If we are not specifying the name of the application, so then how it will in the server in the network there are plenty of application. There's no count at all. See, just if you take this many count only, we have a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and Telegram, and what is that? GitHub, and etc Jenkins, Jira. So all these applications. Okay, so whatever the application we have plenty of application over the network. So how it will understand that which application it has to go and which application it has to work with? Okay, so that's why the domain name is the mandatory thing. Okay, mandatory parameter in the URL. Without the domain name, it's highly impossible you to work with any of the application. So in the URL, this is the mandatory. If they ask you what are the mandatory parameter in the URL, one is protocol, one is domain name, then another one is resource path. Okay, so these are the mandatory parameters that we have to have it. Okay, so next. Okay, domain is completed, right? Okay, then tell me now, this is the HTTPS. Okay, so now tell me, okay, so the both will, which one is correct? By using which URL I can, access the application. Which one is correct? Can I use both the thing to access any of the application? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Tell me, which one I can use? Which one I can use? This one is correct or this one is correct? Hmm?
Facebook.com is correct.
Okay. So here what I'm doing.
But also by using the IP address, we can access it.
Yes. Okay. So that is what I want to say. Okay. So the both are correct. Okay. The domain name for each and every domain, we have a separate IP address. Okay. So we can also access the application by using the domain name, and also we can access by using the IP address. Okay. So instead of typing https facebook.com, you can also type https and provide the IP address of that particular application. Okay. So it should work and it will work. Okay, so because each and every application have a separate IP address for it. Okay, this is some simply dummy IP address I have written here. Okay, you can generate the IP address. Okay, so in command prompt, if you go like PID space, if you provide the domain name, that it will generate the IP address of the particular application. Okay, so by making use of that IP address, you can access the application also. Okay. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I have one
Mm-hmm.
question.
Mm-hmm.
If if every application has a unique IP address, then why we should have to give a domain?
Okay, okay. Is it which one is easy for you to remember? IP address or a Facebook domain name?
Uh,
Which one is easy for
just,
you to remember?
uh,
Obviously,
the
domain name,
domain name,
right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
yeah.
that for that reason, okay. So we are not, it's not easy to remember the IP address, the numbers. If one thing is means missed, also it will not work, right? So it's and also it is not easy to remember all the applications IP address. Okay, so that's why we will be giving a name for it. Okay, so if we can access by providing the name also, and but there is an option to you can also do access by using the IP address also. But for our for user for user, okay, it's okay to use the IP address. Sorry, domain name. Okay, because this is for our convenient. we are, it's not possible to remember the IP address. Okay, so not only single application we are using, right? We will be using plenty of application in day-to-day life also. We are using Facebook, we are using WhatsApp, we are using Twitter, we are using Instagram, Telegram. See how many it's very hard to remember all the application IP address. Okay, so that's why we'll go with the domain name only. Okay, then lastly port number. Okay, so tell me, so whenever you are installing, okay, so whenever you are installing, so that application, the particular application will take some specific port number. Okay, so for example, I'm installing Facebook in my local system. Okay, my Facebook will run in the port number of 8080. Means it is just a space, it is occupied. Okay, so for example, I'm installing one more application, that is Instagram. Okay, so that is also taking 8080 port number. Okay, so what happens in that case? Will it work properly? Will it works? Mm-hmm. See, two application can occupy in the single space. Is it a good? Is it a recommended?
Mm.
Recommended?
No, it's not recommended.
Yeah. Okay. So observe here. So we can't install two application in one port number. Why? What happens? All applications should be running in a different port number. Okay. So now question is what happens if we use the same port number for the two application? Okay, so if we make use of a two same port number for the two application, if one whenever the one application we are using, other application is not possible to make use. For example, if I am using the Facebook, it's not possible to make use of a Instagram at a time. Okay, because it's running in the same port number and the server is busy by the time. Okay, so when the server is busy, it's not able to make use of another application from the same port number only. Okay, so every application will be associated with one specific unique port number when it is installed. Okay, port number is used to identify the specific application inside the computer. Okay, so now what happens when we are using the port number for the same port number for the two application? Okay, so I'm using the Facebook and my server is already busy now. Okay, so it is busy in running the Facebook. So whenever it is busy, if you tell to run one more application means it will not take that application. Okay, because my server is already up and running for the Facebook, and it will not take it will not run at the same time Instagram. Okay, so by the time what happens, if you try to open the Instagram, it will give that server error, server is low. Okay, so it will provide you like that. Okay, so that's why it's not recommended to install the two application at a time in the same port number, because whenever you are using one application you are not able to access another application. Okay, so because the server is already busy in running all the jobs of the Facebook. Okay, so it will not again up and run the server for the Instagram. Okay, so then, but what happens, you just observe whenever you are downloading, if any of the application is already occupied that port number means it will give you suggestion. Okay, like the one application is already running in the same port number. Do you want to change the port number? If you want to change, please change the port number for for smooth running of the software. So like that it will give you alert. Okay, so by the time immediately you have to change the port number of that and you have to install that application. Okay, others if you know that uh, whatever the alert it is providing, the if you ignored and if you have installed in the same port number also, but while running it will trouble you somewhere. Okay, like it will provide you like same application, two application is running in this and I can't able to run the one application because I'm already running this application and I'm totally busy. Okay, so it's like whenever we are busy, if someone is telling some other work means obviously we will keep it that work in hold, right? We'll not take that work until I complete this work. Okay, the same way it will also work. So it is recommended to install the application in a different port. So in interview they may ask you what is port number and what happens if we install the same port number in the for the two application. Okay, and what is the solution for it? If they ask you, just explain all these things. Okay, so it's highly recommended to install the application in a different port because each and every application should take a unique port number, because whenever one application is running, if if we want to access another application, for example, if the Facebook and Instagram is making use of the same port number, when I'm running the Facebook, so if I want to make use of Instagram at a time, means it's highly impossible because already my server is up and running and it is totally busy. Okay, it will it will only allow me to open the Instagram once after completing all the work of the Facebook, and if when I'm logging that, then only it will allow you to make use of the Instagram. Till that it will not allow me to make use of the Instagram. Okay, to avoid these issues, to avoid this interruption, so we have to download the application in the different port number. Okay, this port number in the URL, that is not a mandatory, this is optional. Either you can specify, you cannot specify, that is okay, it will work. Okay, it's a optional only in the URL. Okay, while accessing any of the application, it is optional parameter. Okay, it's not compulsory that you have to specify the port number. Okay, but understanding of this port number is very important. Okay, in interview they may ask you about all these questions. Okay, remember this. Okay, any doubt till now? I think most of you have not attended yesterday's class, right? Please go through the all the demo videos. Okay, if you're not attended means. Any doubt till now? So we done with all the parameters of the URL. Okay. So from tomorrow we have to start JSON language. Okay. So what is JSON language? Why we have to go for the JSON language, and how to create a JSON object, how to create a JSON array, how to access those objects. So all these things we'll be learning tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow is the okay Thursday. So tomorrow completely about the JSON, and Friday completely about the HTTP methods. Okay, but from Monday, actual class means actual class in a sense. Now also this is required. This all the class what I'm doing is required for the next when we are performing in the testing. Okay, but that will start from the Monday. From Monday, link will be changing. Okay, so this is the demo link. So they will be changing the link and they will be sharing with you all the actual link of the class. Okay, only if you are enrolling. Okay, only for the enrolled student they will provide you separately. Okay, so please plan accordingly before the Monday. Okay, any doubt till now? Just let me know if you have any doubt till now. Tomorrow we'll start with the JSON. Okay, any doubt till now?
No. Hello,
Yes, Shivaj.
ma'am. Are we going to cover Cucumber framework as well?
No. We are not covering Cucumber framework. That is a different concept, right? So, but I'm just giving a idea on the methods of the BDD. Okay.
But then which framework we are going to use here?
We are using TestNG framework here.
Okay. Okay, but at least you will give the basic on that KDT, right?
Yes, yeah. But I will give a idea on it. Okay. But
Okay.
we are going with the TestNG framework, and I will give a idea. If you need it, means I will give you idea like how we can achieve that.
Okay. Okay, no issue.
Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Any other doubt, guys? Any doubt?
Uh, One question. For
Mm-hmm.
the testing purpose, we are using which API which is already developed with us, or some dummy API we are using?
Yeah, we are using some dummy APIs from the websites also, and we will be creating our own APIs by just creating the local server, and according to our requirement, we will be creating some own APIs in the class itself. Okay, so we will start working with that, and we will be taking some real-time APIs of GitHub, and if needed Jira, so we can take all those APIs also. Okay, so all the GitHub action what we are performing manually, that also we can achieve through the by taking the API, so we can take that APIs also.
Okay, fine. For the dummy API, we will get the access of for that, right?
Yes, yeah, I will tell you the website, and if that not means, we are only creating our own APIs here, means dummy APIs. By creating the local server, according to the requirement, we will create our own data for the APIs, and we'll work with that.
Okay, okay, fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, any doubt, guys? Anything else that need a clarity? Okay, if not means we'll again connect tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll completely will learn about a JSON. Okay. So why we have to go for, because you have to think this is also interview question. Okay. Okay. This is other language also in the in we can also make use of a HTTP or sorry, I'm very sorry. HTML we can use and XML you can use. Why you are going for the JSON? We have to go for the JSON. Okay, what are the advantages it is having among them? Okay, you can also achieve this by using a HTML also, XML also, right? So why you have to go for the JSON? Okay, how you are creating the JSON, how it is lightweight. Okay, it is very lightweight language. That's why we are going with the JSON. Okay, about how it is lightweight. Okay, how you will create a object in it, how you will create a array in it. Okay, and how you will handle the complex data in it, how you will access that. So all these things is very important. Okay, so tomorrow session we will completely learn about the JSON. Okay, so Thursday we are learning about the JSON, and Friday we are learning about all the HTTP methods, nothing but business operations, crude operation methods. Once after that, from Monday we are learning about the actual classes. Okay. Okay. But guys, please plan accordingly before the Monday. If you are interested, means enroll before the Monday. Okay. Okay. Okay then. I think you guys don't have any doubt, right? Okay, we'll be ending the session. Okay. Tomorrow again we'll connect. Bye. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So we will learn something about JSON today. Okay. So JSON is the language that we are using for the transmission of the data. Okay, so to the server, and from the server we are dealing with the JSON data only. We are not using any HTML, XML. Okay, so before, whenever the JSON concept was not there, so before we were using the HTML and XML language to transmit our data. Okay, we can use still, but we will not use that, because compared to JSON, those are the heavy languages. If it is take a 2 minutes to reach the data to my server, means if my JSON will take a few seconds to minutes reach the server. Okay, so it is very basically it is very lightweight language and easy to understand. Non-programmer can also understand what data we are sending to the server. Okay, so because of these all the advantages, we are coming with a JSON language. Nowadays, nobody use XML language too. Okay, so these are all the very legacy languages now, so nobody use the XML language. Whenever we are working with the server, so we will make use of the JSON only. Okay, so have any idea how JSON work, or how will be the syntax? Have any idea? Anybody? You can, make use of a chat. If you're not able to, unmute yourself and talk means, you can make use of a chat. Have any idea? Have you heard before or have you learned before? Mm-hmm. Have you learned?
Actually, we use the JSON for the purpose of
Mm-hmm.
this transfer the, we can say, transfer the information
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
between the client and server, or we can say between the two applications, and it's the easy to understand, and
Mm.
basically it's like working
Mm.
as a key-value pair.
Yes, correct. Okay. Yes, exactly. Correct. Whatever the Shivaji is telling is correct. Okay. Yes. Someone is telling something. Okay. So JSON. Okay. JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. Okay. Why we have to using JSON? What exactly the purpose of JSON? Okay. So the very basic purpose of the JSON is to transfer the information from one system to another system. This job is this only, this language job is this only. Okay, it will not doing anything. The very basic purpose is to transfer the information from one system to another system. It may be a client or server, or it may be a two application, or whatever it may be. Okay, so whenever there is a concept that we have to send some data via network. Okay, so nowadays everyone will be making use of JSON only. If you go with any companies, they must and should they will use the JSON only. They will not go with any XML or HTML. They won't use any legacy languages. Okay, why I will tell you later. Okay, but nowadays that's why the learning and the idea of the JSON should be the must. Okay, because each and every company will ask you in interview, have you worked with a JSON? Okay, I will please give a some syntax or some data in the JSON. Please create a one object in the JSON. Please create one array in the JSON, or please write some complex data in the JSON. Like that, they will ask you in the interview. Okay, so it's very easy. Nothing, no big deal in that. Okay, very easy it is. Okay. Okay, so here the very basic purpose is to transfer the information from one system to another system. Okay, that's fine. Okay, why we need this? Why we are using this language as a communication purpose between two languages? Why? The main reason is before only I have in workshop I have explained, right? For example, there is a scenario that two application has to interact with each other. Okay, so take an example of the Amazon, take an example of the phone pay. So whenever we are ordering the product, okay, so okay, the my product now is in my hat cart. Okay, now my product now is in the cart future, so now I have to buy that product. So whenever I'm clicking on the buy now, that is redirecting to the maybe phone pay, Google Pay, Paytm. What are the option is there? It is redirecting. Okay, so in that I am selecting phone pay, but my phone pay has built in Java language, and my Amazon application has built in .NET language. They both are different language. They cannot communicate each other directly. It's not highly, it's not impossible, because they both are different language. For example, if I'm speaking in Kannada, if you are speaking in Hindi or Telugu, how you will understand? You will not understand that. So that's why I'm using as an intermediate language as a English for our communication. Okay, in the same way, to understand both the language, okay, they are making use of a JSON as a common language in between the communication. Okay, and okay, you can also use HTML, XML, all those things also use. But why we are using JSON nowadays, I will tell you now. Okay, so now while sending the HTTP request, okay, then while getting the response back, we are making use of the JSON. Okay, and from JSON to object. Remember this, okay? What is marshalling and what is unmarshalling, they will ask you in the interview. Okay, so converting from JSON to particular language object. For example, here converting your JSON language with JSON data to Java object is called as a unmarshalling. Converting from Java object to JSON is nothing but marshalling. Okay, remember these two. Okay, just they will ask you what is marshalling and what is unmarshalling. Converting a JSON data into particular Java object, whatever the language we have here. Okay, so converting a JSON data into a object is nothing but unmarshalling. Okay, so converting a object to JSON is nothing but marshalling. Okay, so remember these two. So now, while what are the advantages we have over other language to go with the JSON? Okay, yes, JSON is a very simple language. Obviously, it is very simple language. Okay, if you go with the HTML and XML, and if you compare this with those languages, you feel that it is very easy. Okay, because they, if we want to define some data, means we have to define that so many tags before. Okay, we have to start with the HTML tag, then we have to start with the header tag, then we have to start with the body tag, then we have to start with some whatever the data we are providing that tag, then we have to specify that. So it's very complexity in that. So if a non-programmer looking into that data, he will not get to know anything. Okay, he's not able to understand. Okay, but if you look into JSON, he can clearly, he can able to, at least he can manage with the data. Yes, they are sending the first name. Okay, they are sending the last name. Okay, they are sending the age of the person. Okay, they are sending the address. So like that, he can at least understand the data if you are, working with a JSON. Okay, and this is very lightweight. Okay, compared to other languages, it is very lightweight. Okay, so since it is a lightweight, how it is helpful is, so while transferring the data, it don't take much time to load the data. Okay, because since it is a lightweight, while transferring the data from, maybe a server to client or client to server, whenever we are sending the data via network, it will not take much time to load the data. Okay, so if it is not taking much time to load the data, means obviously the performance is high compared to other language. Okay, so this is what we expect with our application. Okay, so always we concentrate about the performance also whenever we are working with any of the application in the organization. So we have to concentrate with respect to the performance of the application. If the performance is low, at any cost we have to optimize the performance. Okay, so this is the JSON is also indirectly which is helping to achieve that. Okay, so whatever it may be, for example, okay, you are using the phone pay. Okay, so whenever you are clicking on, transfer money button, and whenever you're clicking on, getting whatever the balance you have, if it is taking, if it is loading so much of time, means obviously you feel, you feel bad about the application, right? And you will write the comment going there, no, application loading time is high, it is not a user friendly, it's taken this much of time to transfer the money. I was able to, transfer within a second only, but it is not happened, etc. Okay, those big review only we will go and we will save, right? So to achieve all those things, you know these are all the things also matters. These are all the behind the parameter, these are all the things has to work. Okay, so even though if we are using the XML and HTML, so we can achieve this whatever the transfer data we are doing, that also we can achieve in that. But compared to those languages, we can achieve in a good, with the respect to performance, we can achieve that with the JSON language. Okay, okay, for example, if we are achieving with the XML and HTML with the just in a 1 minute, means maybe here we are, achieving that in a seconds only. Okay, so this is what they expect, though compared to those language, this is only advantages for us with respect to the application performance also. Okay, then easy to write and understand. Obviously, this is simply a key value pair. Okay, so key and the value, corresponding value, and key and the corresponding value will be sending the data with respect to key value pair. We are not using any tags, and we are not using any like a data tag and extra header tag, body tag, and closing tag. All those things we're not using here. Okay, simply one curly brace and the open curly brace and close curly brace. Or if you are making use of a square bracket, okay, open square bracket and closing square bracket. Inside that, we are just specifying the key value pair. Okay, all those things we'll see. Okay, it is available in the form of key value format. Yes, okay. So by looking into the data only, anyone can understand what we are sending exactly. Okay. So say suppose just compare this. Okay. Okay. So just compare this. So this is the same data I am creating in a different languages. One is Java language, one is XML language, one is JSON object. Okay. So this is the Java object, this is XML object, and this is a JSON object. Okay. Just compare guys. What is happening? To work with a Java object. Okay. So here first I have to create a object here. I forgot to write here. Okay. Okay, so first here I have to create a object. Okay, so then after creating the object, okay, here first I'm defining all the variables. Maybe id, int id1, string name is equal to John, and string phone number, array of phone number, and again one more object, wife. Okay, in this also one more object we are creating like a friend. Okay, so to define that we have all this syntax we need to follow. So here if you look here, first I'm creating the object, then after creating the object I'm taking the object reference here. Okay, so then again I am defining the all the variable and its corresponding value. Okay, if I want to make use of this value means I have to create a object, then I have to take this reference and I have to access these values. Okay, so big process. Nobody will be, non-technical people will not be knowing all these things. You can just able to see these names and all, and but he is not able to see, he is not able to understand that why we had to create this object and why we had to take this object reference to access this. Why can't we simply call this employee id? Why, what happens? So all those things he will be not knowing that. Okay, and then if you compare here XML language here, lot of syntax, lot of tags here. XML, HTML, the both are work similar. Okay, here employee tag they have to open, and inside that ID tag and the name tag, and inside that one more phone tag. In the phone tag only, if you want to declare the many number of phone numbers means again tags we have to define. Then wife tag, here also one more tag. So full of tags here. Okay, so if you miss single tag also it will not work. But these things non-programmer will not be knowing having a idea about this. Okay, so but if you look here, okay, it's so pretty, right? So it's so nice to understand, correct? Non-programmer can also understand it easily. There's no, means extra effort is not needed. Anyone can understand this. Okay, id, okay, id value they are providing, name value they are providing, phone number, yes, they are concatenating here the all the phones. Okay, and wife details they are providing. So easily they can able to understand this what they are doing exactly. Okay, but if you come here in this too, it's very difficult to understand. And compared to this also, see, observe here. Here first we have to create a object. Okay, if it has to create a object means internally constructor has to call. Okay, then constructor has to initiate the object, then only my object reference is available to work with all this data. Okay, all these things has to happen. Obviously it will take a much time to perform that action. Okay, here if you come here, lots of tag here. Okay, to to cross each and every tag, obviously it will take a much time. Okay, so to define this much of data, we have written this much of tag here. Okay, so then if you come here, there is no any object creation means it is no, there is no any concept of initialization, and then it is available to by we have to make use of any object reference. No other concepts is not there here. Okay, like how we are seeing here, and the tax is also not there. Directly we are working with the variables. Okay, direct data available here. Okay, so just we have to take that and we have to access that. That's all. Okay, that's why the processing time is less here. There's no extra tags or like object creation, initialization, all those things is not there here. That's why it's take a less time to processing, for the processing. Okay, that's why it's very lightweight language. Why lightweight? Like this, tags and object creation, initialization, all those things is not there here. Whatever the information is, the direct information is just providing. Okay, that's all. Okay, so that's why it will take a less time for the processing the data compared to these languages. That's why everyone is rushing towards the using of the JSON only in their project. Okay, because which is indirectly helping to optimize the application, because it is transferring the data the earlier compared to other language, and it is providing the data within a fraction of second. Okay, it is very helpful us to achieve the performance of our application. Okay, so now, okay, okay, so now if you look at here, okay, this is information about the JSON. Okay, the JSON syntax rule, the rule of the JSON. Okay, so data is in the form of name and key and value pair. Okay, not a name here, key. Okay, so data is in the form of key and value pair. Obviously you know that, right? So it should be in the key and value pair, and data is separated by the commas. Okay, this is just a syntax. Okay, they're explaining. Mm. Here, the data is available in the key and value pair. Okay, this is what they're telling. Okay, okay, the data is available in the key and value pair. Okay, this is done now, and each data is separated by the semicolon. Okay, see here it is ended with a semicolon, it is also ended with a semicolon, it is also ended with a semicolon. Okay, so each data has to end with a semicolon. This is the syntax. Okay, and next, then curly brace to hold the object, square bracket to hold the arrays. Okay, so they're using curly brace to hold the object. Okay, and square bracket to hold the array. Okay, so observe here. So object creation in JSON, how it happens. So we have to, this is the syntax guys. Okay, we have to open the flower bracket here, and we have to close the flower bracket here. So inside that, what are all the variables we are working, that we have to define. Okay, this is the syntax. So in that, maybe phone number, for example, this person John is the person. Okay, his ID is 1, and maybe he is having a two phone numbers. Okay, one is for the office, one is for the personal use, one is for the, maybe he is running a extra business. Okay, so he is using a three phone numbers. Obviously, that three phone numbers is not possible in the JSON, that phone number 1 and define this, phone number 2 and define this, phone number 3 and define this. Yes, you can do that, but that is not the feasible way, because everything is and comes under the phone number only. Okay, name, whatever the name of the person comes under the name variable, and whatever the phone number is there, that should comes under the this phone variable. Okay, so it's not a feasible, it's not a good practice to define for the same data different variables. Okay, so what I'm doing, okay, remember that the Java concept. Okay, so whenever you are having multiple data, okay, whenever you are having multiple data of similar type, you have to define the array. Correct, so you have to define the array. Whenever you have to enclose multiple data in single variable, you will be defining the array. The same thing we are using here. So how to define the array? You have to open with a square bracket and close with a square bracket. This is how defining the array. How to define the object? You have to start with a flower bracket and end with a flower bracket. This is the object. Okay, so this is the array. Yes, I have a multiple phone numbers. That's why I'm storing all the phone number in the phone number variable. Okay, phone variable. If I want to access office phone number, what I will do, phone is equal to, I mean to say, same like how you will access in the Java, phone of 0. Okay, it will give you the first output. Okay, maybe if you want to access second one, so phone of 1. Okay, maybe you want to give the third one, phone of 2. Okay, same like how you will access in the array of Java. Okay, understood, right? So this is the syntax. So each and every data must be ended with a colon, okay, commas here. So then it should be a key value pair, and the object should start from the flower bracket, and array should start from the square bracket. So whenever we have to define multiple data with a single to define the array here. Okay, okay, these are the things done with this. Okay, so now next thing is, what are the data types applicable for this? Okay, here we have a concept of data type also. Okay, so we have a concept of data type, and we have a concept of object, and we have a concept of array. These three concepts we have in the JSON. If we understood this, then more than enough. Nothing is there, nothing extra is there in this. This is only this much only simple. Okay, so now understand this here. Okay, JSON value. The value must be one of the following data type. Okay, here observe here. In JSON, key must be a string written with a double quotes. Okay, so whatever the key is there here, okay, this key, okay, this data type of the key will not change. This remain constant for everything, that is string. Okay, the data type of the key will be remains always same, that is a string. Okay, but the value data type may be changed according to the requirement. Okay, so what are all those? The maybe the value may be the string. Okay, it may be a string, it may be a number, it may be a object, it may be an array, it may be a boolean, it may be a null also. Okay, so the value may be anything, but the key data type must be string only. Remember this. This is the interview question. Okay, so what are the data types will be acceptable by the JSON key? What are the data types will be applicable for the JSON key? You can make use of a chat if you are not able to unmute yourself from comments. What are the data types will be applicable for the JSON key? Hmm. Why you take so much of time? What are the data type applicable for the JSON key?
Here, number, then string, array, and
Okay.
I think boolean is not there. All
What
are
are the
there.
no.
Null.
Asking about, see, listen, what are all the data types applicable for the JSON key?
Are you asking on this example, or
No, yes, generally also. Okay, you can take this example also. No issues in that. Generally also, overall, what are all the data
actually
types applicable for this JSON key? Oh.
number, string, array, then object and null and boolean. These are data types applicable for the JSON.
Mhm. Okay. So yes, this is where we get confused. Okay. So I'm asking, what are the data types applicable for the JSON key? Okay. So
Okay,
those are
key
the
is only
yes,
string.
yeah. Okay. So okay, only string. Okay, the for the values it is applicable, string is applicable, object is applicable, array is applicable, boolean is applicable, and null is applicable. Okay, so but for the key it is only the string, it accepts only the string. If you give other data type, it will throw you in a error. Okay, so this is what I was expecting. Okay, so now, so here they're clearly telling, right? So in the JSON, key must be a string written in the double quotes, but value may be any one of these types. Maybe a string, maybe a number, maybe a object, maybe an array, or maybe a boolean, maybe a null. Okay, so anything it may be. Okay, understood, right? Others, okay, observe here how they are defining the object and how they are defining the arrays. Okay, So this is the JSON string. Okay. So how they are defining the object? Nothing but opening the curly brace, and here they are ending the curly brace. Inside that they are simply defining the key value pairs. Okay. If you look at here, okay, we'll define one here. Okay. Okay. So object. How to create an object in JSON? Okay, I'm creating one object and I'm ending here. Okay. And I have one variable here. ID. It should be of string type and providing, and ending with comma, and one more. Okay, number data type is done, and name. I'm providing the name. ID name. Okay. So now, okay, maybe subject. Okay, subject. Maybe we will be not working with a single subject. We will be learning a many subjects, right? So I'm defining array because I have to define the multiple values inside the subjects. Okay, because I'm not studying only single subject. I will be studying multiple subjects. Okay, like CS, comma, maybe electronics, maybe CAD. Okay, multiple subjects and with a comma. Then just simply I'm specifying. Okay, just simply data results. True or false is nothing but boolean. Simply I'm providing. Okay, and maybe just simply null in the object. Okay, so I specified the object, I specified the array, I specified the string, number, boolean, null. Okay, each and everything I specified here. Okay, and if you want means you can define one more object inside the object. Remember. Okay. You can define one more object inside the object. Remember this. And also okay, so like this you can define one more object inside the object. No issues on that. Okay, and you can also define one more array inside the object also. Okay, how many number of you need you can just define. No issues in that. This is perfectly valid. Okay, so understood how we can write the syntax? Understood, right? And any doubt? Maybe here I will provide the object name here. You can provide that also, no issues.
Hello.
Info. Yes.
Ma'am, when we have to access the JSON data,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to mention only the object name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Object
Okay.
name. Yes. This one you're telling.
Yes,
Whatever the
yes.
object name. Yes. Yes. No.
Like in
What I had to do? When I had to specify, say suppose in this, what are the variables I have created? You want to access the name. How you will access that? First, you will go to the info dot name. So you can able to access the value of this info dot name. Okay. Maybe you want to access subjects. Okay. So if you want to access all the subjects means, okay, you can write a info dot
dot
subjects.
subjects.
Okay, but in that, if you want to access any particular, then you have to pass the index of it. Okay, maybe second one. Okay, I will pass the index of it. Okay, so maybe if you want to travel any other, okay, you need a result. Just first you had to access the object name. Then inside that, what are the value you needed. Okay, but while you're accessing the array, you have to pass the index of it.
Index number.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Here we create another object that is a sports, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to mention the
Mm-hmm.
uh, sports again. Here one variable I need to declare as a name. I mean to say sports name.
Hmm.
So can I
You
declare this
inside here, right?
or
Here.
yeah here, yeah,
Yes, you
in the
can. You
another one
can.
means
Yes, you
it will
can.
not consider as a duplicate, right?
Yeah, it will not consider, but while accessing, how you will access? Tell me.
Uh,
First, you have to
in
go info. Uh-huh.
then sports, then
Yes.
name.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So like that you have to
Yeah.
access. Okay. So first you have to go and you have to go here, then you have to come here. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is what about the JSON which is required to work with the API. Okay. So just you have to be very clear, like how to create a object and how to create a arrays inside that. And if you're working with a complex, the complex data is nothing but this is only like So inside the inside this object, maybe you'll be having multiple arrays to declare and multiple objects to declare. Okay. You have to be very clear with the syntax, how you have to write each and everything. You had to, if you are using the string, if you have to enclose within a double quotes. Okay, if you are using the what is this array means, you have to start with the square bracket, and if you are making use of one more object means you have to start with the flower bracket. Okay, once these three you have to remember in this. Okay, nothing else, just this is the basic concept. And for interview perspective, they may ask you to write a data, like okay, create a JSON object, create a JSON array, or create some complex data. And they may ask you like tell me the syntax of the JSON. Okay, and they may ask you like why you're going for the JSON, why can't you use a XML or HTML other languages to transfer the data, what is the advantages of JSON you have over those languages. So this is what they will ask. Okay, I think all the questions I covered with respect to interview perspective. Okay, so this is what they ask, nothing else they ask other than these questions. Okay. Okay. Anything else, guys? Anything else?
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Vinita.
This is one object we have defined info.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose if we are defining for school students, there are n number of
Okay.
students. So
Mm-hmm.
how will define?
School student means n number of students. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Create an object. Okay. Okay, create an array n number of students, right? So okay, okay, you have to enclose many number of students in that. Okay. Okay. So now what you will do first, create an array. Okay, maybe you give a array name as a students info is my array. Okay, you have to create a array now because there you have to define multiple students here. Okay, so inside this create a objects, one object, maybe in this object name of the student. Okay, maybe Vinita. Okay, and what is that? Section. Okay, whatever the variables you had to create, that you can define. Okay, so like anything you can define, whatever the thing you have to create. Okay.
This is one for Vinita. Then again, I have to suppose
Yeah.
declare for
So
Ram. Then
this is for Vinita. Okay, so we have to end this and the object. Then
again flower versus then name is equal to Ram.
yes, again you create an object. Okay, so basically for each person one object. Okay, so like that you have to create the data. Okay, so again name, so my name, so again same
And,
thing. Okay, same copy
okay,
paste.
and while accessing, we will access student info
Mm-hmm.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. We'll access each object.
No. Here you have to provide a unique Q value. Okay, so maybe you provide the ID, or UID number of
Roll number.
yeah, some unique Q ID you have to provide here. Okay, so this is the main thing to access the particular user now. Okay, like it's like a primary ID you have to provide. Okay, Control Z. Here I will define a ID for this. Maybe it's a 01. I'm just changing the name. Okay, so here again the ID will be separate. ID. Okay, through the ID only you have to define now for each of the user. Okay, like this, multiple user. Wait, I will show you here. I have a data. Uh, okay, observe it. This is the okay. So here maybe here you take it as a student. Okay, so I have taken it as a users. So here what I'm doing. So observing, right, first name and last name, first name and last name, first name and last name, and age. Okay, but ID is the acting as a primary key here. So the ID only I have to define. Okay, so for example, I'm making use of this service now. If I create that is using, I'm taking as a primary ID only. Wait, I'll show you. Okay, so here okay. Okay, so here if you observe here, I'm using of this API. Okay, so here so now what happens? Okay, this I am using data. Okay, if I want to get the particular user now, okay, so I have a request. Okay, okay, I have a list of user here. Okay, so I have to get the particular user now, particular user information I need. So I told you that so ID is as acting as a primary key here. Okay, I have to identify the person through the ID only now. Okay, so what I have to do? So because ID is unique here, maybe name of the person, age of the person may come, repeatable, maybe repeatable, but ID will not repeat. Okay, ID is a unique queue. So we want to access the through the ID only. Okay, it's like that only, right? For example, in a school, maybe name may be the repeatable. Maybe there are two Vinita will be there, or there are two Harshil will be there. Okay, so the two persons can have a same name. So we can't take that as a unique queue. So either we can take a ID as a unique queue here. So maybe I want to get the particular user data means I can specify here and I can make user forget because we are retrieving the data. Okay, I have retrieved here. See, I have got a Steve and Smith detail. Okay, so we'll cross check here whether we got a proper data. Yes. Okay, Steve Smith and age is 32.
So are we not defining the user object name in the
Mm, what what's that?
can you go back to the syntax now?
Okay.
So we have multiple objects created in an array, right? Like ID.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
are we not supposed to create an object name also there for each of the objects inside the array?
Yes, Pratap, we have created, no? See, this is the array. See here, opening with a square bracket.
Correct. Inside,
Okay.
but inside array we have multiple objects for ID1, ID2, right?
Yes, we have created multiple objects.
So should we not have an object name before ID1?
Okay, you are telling this object name. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
required. Yeah, it's not required here actually because we are
Okay.
having multiple list of data, right? So we have created the array only. So we are storing these values inside the array. Okay. So basically how it is working is okay, maybe you are having a list of users data, so you have to store inside the array. So this is the users array. Okay, in the Java, if you take an example of a Java, this is the users array for the syntax only. Okay, you are storing inside all the values here.
Okay.
Okay, this is how it is working now. Okay, no need to create a object name here now because inside the users array you are storing all the values. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, inside the because okay, this take an example. This is a school. Okay, so in the school you are having multiple students, means so many students we have. Okay, so all those students detail has to go inside the school variable only here. So that's why I'm creating a array inside the. So basically how you have to remember means for to define each and every person detail we have to define inside the object. Okay, so you have to store multiple users detail means that you have to store inside the array. So you have to define like this.
Okay.
Okay. Understand,
Yes.
no?
Yes. Yeah,
Any
I
doubt?
got it. Thank you. No, thank you. Got it.
Okay. Okay. So here, if I want to means access means I have to pass the see here users is the array name here. Okay. So first my control is going here at the user. So in the users, I want third one. So I'm specifying ID of it. I'm specifying ID because ID is acting as a primary key means unique key value that is in my data. because other data may may duplicate. There may be chance of duplication of other data, because we don't know, like in a school there may be a two student having the same name, but id is not possible to repeat. Okay, for each and every user it is a unique. So that's why I'm taking a id here as a primary key and I'm passing here, so which is providing me the particular data. Okay, okay, let me check. If I take a 4 and if I send it, yes, it is providing yes my name only. Yeah. Okay, so it is providing that. Okay, and if I take here and send it, okay, it is providing this. Okay, okay, understanding, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Hello, ma'am.
one question I want to ask. How we are
Okay.
connecting Postman to local?
Yeah, this thing I will tell you. Okay, in actual classes I will only, we are working with like this only. Okay, so what I'm basically doing is I'm creating a local server and I'm creating my own fake apis here, rather than using some dummy api from some website. I'm creating my own apis in my local. See here, if you see here, local host. Okay, why I'm doing is, sometime what happens, when we are using some dummy apis from the website, sometime it will not provide us the proper result. Okay, so most of the time I face it that with with the students, like they will get confused of what is happening exactly. So to come out of that issue, what I'm doing is, yes, of course we are using some dummy apis also. Along with that, I'm creating a own our apis in my work local host only, so that we will get a proper clarity about all the basic operation how it is performing. Okay, so that's why I'm using this. I will guide you in whenever we're starting actual classes. From Monday we are starting, right? So the first thing is, we will create a local server and we will create some dummy apis and we will connect to our local server and we will work with this. So basically, this file, whatever this file is acting as a DB here in my case. Okay. So what happens usually in the organization when we are having some APIs, and if they are asking you to check in the database also whatever the action you are performing here in the Postman, what happens here, if you are creating some user means it has to create in this file also. Okay. So for example, how I'm telling is, okay, I will create one user now. Hmm. Okay, I will create one user. I will provide the body and I will take this as JSON. So, so how we need to validate being a test engineer in the companies? Okay, they are providing you some URL and they are telling that yes, you okay, creation should happen whenever you're creating the user data. It should create in the DB also. That is the requirement. Okay, maybe. Okay, understand. Okay, okay, I have a data. I have to create a one user. Name is Hanvi. Okay, so I have to create this user in this file. Okay, this file is basically acting as a database in my system currently. Okay, so maybe in requirement how it will be means, okay, take this URL. Okay, you have to create a user. Okay, so whenever you're creating the user, it should you have to check in the database that the particular user has created or what. Okay, so then I'm providing this data and I'm selecting, I'm providing the user, uh, this particular API, and I'm sending this. Yes. Okay, here is what it is showing. It is showing that yes, first name, last name, and age. I am not providing ID. It is only creating a unique ID for it. Okay, okay. Then I'm getting that 201. It's created successfully. Okay, but being a test engineer, it's our duty that we have to go and we have to check the, maybe in the organization, means in the company, maybe have to they will be giving you a DB connection. Okay, DB access they will be provided. Okay, if you're creating here and you're getting here 201 means you have to go DB and you have to check in the DB that particular user is created or what. Okay, in my case, I have to check because I'm not connecting with the DB. So I have to check here my file, whether whatever the user I'm created here is created here or what. Okay, so now here I'm getting that 201. 201 is nothing but this status code. 201 status code is telling that successfully the user is created. But okay, so it's our duty. I have to check that. I should not rely on this Postman UI tool only. I have to go here and I have to check whether my API is working fine or what. Okay, so open here. It should create a S. Hanvi is created here. Okay, okay. Last one is 11 is the ID. Okay, let me create one more to show you. Okay, mm, maybe test I will give you data. Age is maybe 31. Okay, okay. I will create one more now. This user is my endpoint. Okay, users is the endpoint. In this endpoint, I'm trying to create all this data. Okay, 201 is created. Let me go here and check. This is how you have to check in the database in the company. Okay, not in the file. Okay, but yes, I am not connected with the database. I am connected with this file now. Okay, it is acting as a DB. Okay, yes, test data age 31 ID created. Okay, so my creation means my create is happening, means it's happening, it is working perfectly. There's no issues with this creation. Okay, so likewise I have to check all other business operation, whether the deletion is happening. Whenever I want to remove some user detail. Okay, whenever I'm deleting that user detail, it is deleting here. Okay, here it is showing that yes, it is deleted successfully. Then I have to go here and I have to check in the backend whether the particular user data is available or what. Then I have to update something. Some user the data I have to update, and some user all the user data I have to retrieve. Okay, so all this action we need to perform. Okay, that we will see in the actual classes. Okay, any doubt? Any doubt with the JSON or all those action what I'm performing? Any doubt or clear? Any doubt, guys?
Yeah, ma'am, one more question.
Mm-hmm.
When the postman, right, when we are
Mm-hmm.
using this letter, right? So since we are passing this ID, so we are
Uh-huh.
fetching the result. So instead
Yeah.
of ID, can we have this first name also mentioned? So
Mm-hmm.
will it fetch the result?
Mm, you can fetch, but what happens, okay, okay, this is the okay, wait, okay, I will create one more. Mm, okay, I created it one more. So 13th is the ID. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, now 13th ID is generated here. Okay, I will open this. Mm. What happening here? What is happening here? You tell me.
Duplicate is created.
Yeah, duplicate is created. Okay, means okay, duplicate created means first name and last name and age is the same here, but ID is a unique here. Okay,
Correct.
if we make use of the first name, there is an ambiguity problem. Which user I have to retrieve, whether this user
Correct.
or this user. Okay, it is creating some ambiguity problem there. Okay, the service will get
Yeah.
confusion. Whose detail
Correct.
you all exactly want. Okay, because there are two names are present. That's what I'm telling. Okay, in the school, maybe there may be a two students having the same name. Maybe in the company there may be a two persons having the same name. Okay, that's why we always go with some primary key, means primary data, which is having a unique queue for each and every user. So maybe if you compare with employee details thing you're taking, means employee ID is the unique there. So we usually fetch each and every employee detail by using the employee ID only. Because why? That employee ID, we know that employee ID is unique queue for each and every employee. but we can't tell that with the names because there may be a duplication with respect to name. Correct?
Yes.
Correct, no?
Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
that's why. That's why we always go with the IDs. Okay, whatever the unique data we have with respect to each and every user, that we will use. Okay, so we usually don't follow the names and all we won't use because there may be a duplication with respect to name.
Okay.
Okay, 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 guys. Then I have one more class now. 6 minutes late for that class. Okay, so yeah, if you have any doubts means just let me know tomorrow. But tomorrow will be the last demo sessions. Okay, so from Monday, so we will start the batch as soon as possible. Okay, so if you're planning, if you're enrolling as soon as possible means we will start from the Monday, the batch. Okay, actual batch. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am, one more thing. Actually, I missed a
Ma'am,
couple of classes.
Okay.
From Monday, I mean, will a fresh batch, I mean, will you explain all this again, or how is it? It's a continuation of this.
Uh, Yeah, Pratap, like, first I will check, okay? Anyhow, all these classes video is already having, okay? Means they are recording it, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
what they will do, they will send you with you all. So the recording of these demo classes. In the demo classes, I will be covering just JSON and what is that, web URL, complete about web URL and JSON. And next tomorrow I'm completing that HTTP methods, okay? So these three concepts will be covered in the demo sessions, okay? So if you need again brush up off on those concepts means you just let me know when I'm starting actual class. Okay, first I will go through that and then I will start the things. Okay, but it's okay that you have already watched videos and you're completely fine with that means that's fine, we'll go with that flow only. Okay, it's up to you.
Okay.
You guys have to inform me how you want. Okay, if you want me to explain again means no issues, 1 or 2 day I will explain it again. Okay, but if you are okay with that videos only means whatever the recording they are sending is okay with that means then we can go with the flow. Then we can continue. Okay.
And it is
Can we
Monday to
expect
Friday, ma'am?
Yes, Pratap. Monday to Friday. Day weekend I won't take classes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
and what about ma'am these videos? How can we access today's
These videos,
yesterday's class?
yeah. Yesterday's class videos. Okay. Yes, once after you're enrolling, no. So by the time they will give you access of those videos.
Okay, before enrolling, I can't get this class demo classes lectures.
This demo class lectures, maybe they are uploaded in the YouTube, right? They're uploading
No,
it in the
I'm
YouTube.
first lecture only there.
Okay. Can we start at 1 second here then? Can we start at 8 a.m. or in the evening? Oh, okay. First lecture means Vinita workshop you're telling?
Yes, yes. Whatever you have taken till yet, 5, 6
Mm-hmm.
lectures, I want to access all these and brush up and then come on Monday and join the session.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. 1 second dear, I will check. Shifted. Demo classes. Demo 2 months. Okay. I think, yeah. Workshop is there. Demo 1 is there. Okay. Demo 3 they have uploaded. Okay. So demo 3 also they have uploaded. Yesterday's class, right? Demo 3. Yes, Vinita, they have uploaded. Okay. Today you go once you check it. Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
I can see that. They have uploaded. Okay. Okay, yes, yeah. They uploaded 21 hours ago. Okay. So all the demo sessions I have uploaded. All videos on YouTube. Yeah. Sudhakar is also telling that all videos on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, Vinta. Once you go through the web, means They'll page and you check that, okay? Okay, no? Okay, yeah. Anything else? Someone is asking
Yes.
something. Hanvika, Anna. Okay, Anvika, right? Yeah. Can we start
Yeah.
at yeah, 8 a.m. or in the evening? 8 a.m. If all are agrees means okay. Okay, we'll check with each and every person. Okay, after enrolling, we'll check with each and every person. So if they're all are okay means we can start 8 a.m. But in the evening, my work will start from the afternoon only. Okay, because I am working for the US shift. Okay, so it start from around like 1:32 only it will start. So it will end. There's no exact timing when it will end actually. Sometime I extend till 1 or 2 a.m. Sometime 11, 10. There's no even I will be not knowing about my logout hour, okay? So that's why, evening time, I don't know, I don't think it will work, but 8 a.m. we can try. We can check with
Okay.
others
So can
also
we
if
confirm with all the members right now for 8 a.m. if they are up with it?
no, yeah, right now, we don't have a clarity about, who are all enrolling, okay? So once after they enroll, no, so everyone is okay with that means then we will plan for the 8 a.m.
Okay.
What about others? Currently, what are there? Which time is feasible for you?
8 a.m. is good,
Oh, oh, you got one more vote.
but yeah, but still six is fine because kids are sleeping. We get peace to study. Early
Yeah,
morning it gets over, so
yeah,
disturbances are not there, ma'am.
yeah. Yes, I agree with that also. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see, Anavika. Okay, in your case, how it will work, we'll see. Okay. So if work from home continued means then we'll be having so many options. But now all the companies are starting hybrid models, right? So I don't know, like evening hour how it will work. So we'll see how it will work. Okay. So why 6 a.m. is not possible, Anvika? Sometimes it's very hard to wake up, right? It happens with me.
We woke up in the morning, but again sleep in the class.
Oh, is it? Oh, this
Yeah,
is bad then.
but sometimes
Oh, then when okay, you were sleeping today because there was no response from you. Oh, you. Oh, then I'm that much boring for you guys.
no, no, you are not boring. We are not completing our sleep. That's why.
Uh-huh. You know, for you guys only, I'm dedicating my sleep as I won't wake up at 6 a.m. and all. For your class only, I'm changing my schedule. It's very hard for me. Yeah. Then if
6
Shivaji
a.m.
is
is good
joining,
time.
mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, then if you're enrolling for this course means always I will call you only to make sure that you're not sleeping.
Okay, thank you. Actually, the 6 a.m. Timing, that's good because we fully concentrate on the class. It might be anyhow. And second thing is
Oh,
what it will a good habit to wake up early, at least
oh,
for the class.
oh, there's two
Really?
advantages.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah, you're telling the two things also. You can fully concentrate also, and you can fully sleep also, right? If you get a
Ye-
sleep. Okay, then. Okay, we'll see that, Anvika. How it will work in your case. Okay, we'll see that later because most of the people are. Yeah. That will be good also, because if we take 8 a.m. means it will extend till 9 and 9:30. So most of the people have, login hour, that means login time, that is right, 9 and
Yeah, it
9:30.
seems I have to wait for your next batch.
Ha. Okay, okay. So we'll see, okay?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys, then, okay? It's 16 minutes late for the next class, okay? We'll catch tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, fine. Okay. So today we will start with the demo sessions, okay? So this week completely we will dedicate it for the demo sessions, okay? So in this demo session, but this demo sessions is also very important. It is a part of learning, okay? It is part of the API testing learning, okay? Where I'm going to teach all the prerequisite which is required to start with the API testing, okay? So about the web URL, all the details about the HTTP methods and JSON language, all these things we'll be learning in this demo sessions, okay? Okay, so sorry guys, I had little cold, okay? So just let me know if my voice is, if it is, very low, or if you're not able to listen my voice, okay? Just let me know, okay? Okay, so now, as a part of our API testing, okay, so we are learning about the web URL, okay? So like, what is web URL, how it is defined, and what are the things we need to take care. All these things we have to be very clear, because the URL is the what we are working with, okay? So API testing is nothing but, so it will be provided like this only for us, okay? Whatever the URL you are seeing here, so you'll be getting the URL from the developers like this only, okay? So they will send you the URL, and they will give you, if there is, if there is any authentication, if you need to perform before working with that API, they will give you all the details in the document. Yes, this is the URL, and this is the parameter, this is the endpoint. You have to hit this endpoint, then you will get the response like this, okay? So all these things will be defined in the document. By looking into it, we need to add it, being a test engineer, okay? So what we will do means, we are starting from the scratch. This course defined like this only, okay? Because the people who doesn't know any knowledge, and the people who is jumping from non-IT to IT, and the people having some idea, for all of one, I had to take in a single boat only, okay? So that's why I'm starting from very very basic. This is the web URL. This concepts and all very basic concept, but which you have to be very carefully, we have to understand each and every parameter, okay? Okay, so web URL. So web URL means uniform resource location, okay? So uniquely identify the specific web resources inside the web application, okay? So remember what it is telling, uniquely identify the specific web resource inside the web application, okay? Okay guys, what is resource, what is web resource? What you guys know, like, what is web resource inside the web application? Mm-hmm.
Inside the web page contain link, then tab, all the
Mm-hmm.
resources.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. See, for example, the web resource in the nothing but. So what they're telling is uniquely identify the specific web resource inside the web application. Okay, which means that, just I'm taking, just considers it is a web application. Okay, so this is a web application. So inside this web application, we have our different resources. Okay, so what is that resources? Okay, this is one resource. Okay, this is maybe a home resource. Okay, and this is one resource. This is maybe a contact resource. Okay, and this is one resource. This is maybe a information resource. Okay, just different resource. Okay, maybe this is a home resource, and this is maybe a contact resource. Okay, and this is maybe a about resource. Okay, and this is maybe a search resource. Here one search resource. So basically different future, different uh, elements in the web application is nothing but a web resource. Okay, this is a search resource. Okay, so uniquely identify the specific web resource inside the web application. This entire thing is a web application. Okay, so in this web application we are having different resources. Okay, so how it will identify it? Just observe here this example. So it is going to the google.com and it is identifying in the google.com we have a different resource, right? So set expose. Someone is, please mute yourself. When it's required, you can unmute and ask the question. Manish, right? I will mute you. Okay, when it's required, you just unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, yeah. So these are the different resources. Okay, so in these resources, the URL is helping us to identify it uniquely. How it is helping? See, take this. Okay, it is reaching till the google.com. In the Google, we have a different resource. Okay, so even though we have a different resource in the google.com, okay, so it is it is going for the search element, means search future, search resource it is going. Okay, maybe consider it as a google.com only. This is google.com application, and in that google.com application it is identifying search resource right now. Maybe later it will identify home also, contact also, and about also. So to reach particular particular person, for example, take it as a home. Okay, this is one person, this is one person, and this is one person, and this is one person. Okay, so they want to talk with this person. So what they will do, like this URL they will define. Okay, so this is possible with the URL only to identify the specific person. Okay, so when they ask about URL, uniquely identify the specific web resources inside the web application. Without the URL, to identifying the particular resource and all is not possible. Okay, so that's why URL defining the URL is very important. Okay, properly we have to define while defining that. Okay, and next, it's very general information. Every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. Okay, obviously, every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. We have a lots of application, like we have a WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp we have Facebook, we have Twitter. Okay, okay. So what they're telling is every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. See, this application is have one unique address. This application is have one unique address. This application is have one unique address. For example, like a whatsapp.com, https whatsapp.com is the WhatsApp address. Okay, maybe Facebook, https facebook.com. Okay, and this one, last one, https twitter.com. Okay, so these are all the unique address for the different application. Okay, so what if for each and every application, if it is like a https xxxyyyy.com, if it is like this for each and every application, So it's something like the address is same for each and every application. There is big ambiguity problem, right? How it will define the different addresses, correct? Okay, it's not possible, correct? So that's why. So they are telling that every web application should have its unique address in the form of URL. In the form of URL, this every application is have their own unique address. Okay, so this is what they're specifying. Okay, so URL is a one and only way to access any web application via browser. Yes, that is true. Okay, whatever the application you want to access, obviously you have to make use of a URL. Without the URL, how you will call that particular application? See, if you go simply open the Google and open WhatsApp, if you tell like that, it will open. No, right? You have to enter the WhatsApp URL, correct? So that is what they're telling. And this is general example. Maximum number of character in the URL is 200. Okay, remember this. In interview, they may ask you, okay? URL in the sense this is what, okay? See, this is one URL. Whatever the thing I'm launching here, this is one URL, okay? So this character, what they're entering here, it should be a maximum 200 only, okay? If it is a 201 also, it will not work. The maximum character allowed is lost is 200 only. Okay, this is what they're specifying. Okay, so next. So the syntax for the web URL. Okay, what is the syntax for the web URL is it should contain protocol. It starts with a protocol. Okay, this protocol is nothing but address. Okay, so it should contain the protocol and following the protocol domain name. Okay, and after that, if it's required, port number and resource path, query string, and fragment ID. Okay, so these are all the things. It's very important. Domain name, port number, resource path, query string, fragment ID. Okay, so this is what this is the syntax of the web URL. Okay, so here also that is what they are specified. Here they're giving a protocol and then domain name and port number and resource. Okay, so here is also like protocol, domain name, and resource. This is somewhat query string. These are all the things I will be telling you later. Okay, so this is we call it as a query string, something extra information about the resource. Okay, and here, so instead of domain name, they are specifying IP address. This I will tell you guys. Okay, later, and here resource, and this is the query string. Okay, so this is the sample example for the web URL, and observe here it should follow the syntax of this general syntax. Whatever the URL we are defining here, so it should follow the syntax of this. Okay, this syntax, following this syntax is must. It will not work if you domain name if you are mentioning at the end and if you are mentioning the resource in the first, okay, it will not work. After the protocol, it must be a domain name only. After the domain name, then if you are want to define means it's protocol. What is this? Sorry. If you want to define the port number means you have to define it here only. Then you have to define it resource. Okay, if you make it, here and there means it will not work. Means instead of domain name specifying resource path, and after this domain name will specifying in the place of resource path. If you do that means it will not work. Okay, so this is the syntax. It should follow like this only, one by one. Okay, so in the syntax there are many things which is not a mandatory things. Okay, the one is the port number is not a mandatory. That is something like a extra information. Okay, so whether you can specify or you not specify, it will work. The URL will work. Okay, this is the optional thing. Okay, yes, see, observe here. Okay, HTTP localhost I am specified port number and then resource. Okay, you can specify or else you can also remove it. It will work. Okay, so this is a optional port number. Okay, and one more thing, fragment ID is also optional. Okay, but the domain name, this query string is also like optional. If we want to provide extra information, then we have to give. Okay, so domain name and all is a mandatory. Protocol, domain name, resource path is a mandatory parameters in the URL. Okay, in interview they may ask you what are the mandatory parameter. Okay, so you can tell that yes, protocol we have to specify because we need to give a idea that which protocol we are going to use. We have to give idea to the services. Okay, then domain name is must and resource path is must. Okay, you have to specify that, and they may ask you what is the optional parameter, whether we can enter that, whether we are not entering that, the function will work. So which is that parameter? If they ask you, yes, port number is a optional parameter and fragment id is also optional parameter. So these are the some parameters which we consider as a optional. Okay, so this is what your response. Okay, okay, clear? Any doubt till now? Okay, okay. So now what we will do, okay, to understand how the URL is working, how to understand each and everything. Okay, I mean to say how the parameters we can understand. Okay, to understand that, we will first start with a general example. Okay, so let's try to understand the web URL with a general example. Okay, listen carefully. You have to answer now. Okay, so